Mary Lou, not Lou Mary. You know what I'm saying?
This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Jeff, I want to tell you that I was embarrassed this week because I came across a article in The Atlantic. As you know, I like to sit in my study and read The Atlantic or the Utne Reader.
Yes.
You know, The Economist. These are things that I read.
That's your day.
That's my day, really. I like to have NPR on in the background. I like to just really...
Sipping a cognac.
Yeah. I like to just upper middle class neo-lib my way through the day, if I can. And so I was reading this article in The Atlantic, and buddy, the headline says it, and I was mortified because it was true. Jeff, we forgot about the moon trees.
Oh, no. Again,
constantly and consistently, we are always forgetting about the moon trees.
It's like that scene in Home Alone 3, you know, where you go, they couldn't have done it again. You know, they couldn't have forgotten the moon trees again.
Not again.
And yet, here we are in Home Alone 3, slapping our faces with both hands, still shocked that we forgot the moon trees.
Now,
you know?
I never saw Home Alone 3. I know it was a different kid, but was that kid supposed to be Kevin McAllister?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
3 out to be the third one. I don't know. Was 3 not? It wasn't Kevin McAllister anymore after 2?
No, Macaulay Culkin had fucked right off.
Yeah, he was like, give me that money. And they're like, any kid will do, Macaulay.
Yeah,
they were wrong about that, right?
I guess so. I think we were also just tired of Home Alone. He probably was too, I would imagine.
It is a strange premise.
It is a strange premise. And then there was one that just came out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was a reboot, right? A requel.
It was, yeah.
What are they calling it? A legacy-quel.
The Connection. Are you ready for The Connection? I did not watch the movie, but The Connection is apparently a police officer that shows up at the end is Buzz McAllister, Kevin's older brother. That's the only connection.
He's seen that shit before.
He's seen it before. He's a detective that is uniquely suited to crack this case. However, the child already cracked it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, Jeff,
legacy sequel. That's how they do it. It doesn't matter. As long as there's a connection to the original cast, that's all we care about.
It just, I don't want to. You have a whole other podcast where you talk about things like this. I'm so annoyed.
Tell me about the moon trees and why we forgot about them.
Now, are you familiar with the moon trees? I was not familiar with the moon trees. So to say that I've forgotten about them was a little generous.
Isn't that the woman who played Punky Brewster?
Yeah.
Soleil Moon Tree.
Soleil Moon Tree. Yeah. Kids, ask your parents. No, this is actually something from 1971 from the Apollo 14.
Did we bring trees to the moon?
Buddy, are you ready for this? One of the astronauts on the Apollo 14 was Stuart Roosa. Stuart Roosa was, like all other astronauts, had a very interesting life before he was an astronaut. You don't get to be a boring astronaut that had no achievements or cool shit in your life. Like, that's just not
That's not what an astronaut is.
No.
An astronaut is the coolest dude in the room at all times.
Yeah, and that's why we hate them. So,
yeah.
Stuart Roosa was basically a forest firefighter, and
Sure.
and I think they call it a bush jumper. One of those guys. Yeah.
Jumps the bush anytime.
He'll jump over any bush. You see a small, up to a tall hedge.
Yeah. Shrub to hedge. He'll jump that bush.
A topiary.
That's the astronaut promise.
Yeah. Shrub to hedge. We'll jump it. They have it on the patch.
I think we need to get that shirt, man. Shrub to hedge. We'll jump that bush.
Shrub to hedge. We'll jump that bush. And it's got NASA. It's got the NASA
right
logo.
There. That's merch waiting to happen.
So because Stuart Roosa had sort of a history of working with the forestry department, the forestry department was like, yo, Stuart, bring a bag of fucking seeds to the moon, dog.
Like sunflower seeds?
Yeah, just to chew on.
Just, you're going to be bored like a baseball coach.
Yeah, and the problem is you can't, if you spit those seeds out in a command module, they get everywhere because of the low to no gravity. And
right.
They gum up the works, they get stuck in the instruments. And so Stuart said, well, I have a better idea. Instead of these sunflower seeds, which thank you, I will eat them later. What if I bring a bag of like native United States trees?
Oh, okay.
And the head of the forestry department said, oh shit, I should have thought of that. I'm the head of the goddamn forestry department. That's honestly, I should have came with that instead of I'm so sorry. And Stuart was like, no, dude, it's fine. It just means
it's probably your stomach talking. You're hungry.
Yeah, it means the world to me that you brought anything, like not everybody showed up, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the head of the forestry department brings like something like a sack of 200 different seeds, sycamores, redwoods, pines, firs, sweet gums, and is like, take these to space and plant them on the moon.
Okay, this doesn't make any sense to me because we know that the moon can't support trees.
Well, that's what Stuart said. And he said also, and this is very embarrassing, I will not be doing any of the walking on the moon. I will be staying in the command module. I'm the pilot.
Oh, that's an awkward convo.
It's an awkward conversation.
When you're like your buddy, the head of the Forest Service, finds out you're an astronaut and has all these cool ideas for you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, you know what? If you're an astronaut, you're probably getting ideas from all the people you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, take this to the moon. Drop one of these on the moon.
Dude, what happens if you hawk a big loogie in space? Try hawking a big loogie in space.
Do that. Here's a Lego minifig of a spaceman. Wouldn't it be hilarious to leave that on the moon? Take it and leave it on the moon. And then you got to be like, I'm not going to be close enough to leave your minifig on the moon.
You got to remember, this was 30, 40 years before Chris Hadfield, who would just do whatever people asked him to do in space. Back then, astronauts didn't do that shit,
I bet they did. They just didn't tell anybody.
They didn't tell anybody. But basically what happened, in all honesty, is the head of the Forestry Service gave this bag of seeds and was like, take them up with you. And when you bring them back, we'll send them to various forestry sites in the United States and like civic sites and things like this. And we'll plant these moon trees when you get back.
Oh, I get it. These trees that have visited the moon. It's not that we're going to grow trees on the moon.
Right.
It's that these trees, these are trees that have gone farther than you have.
Yeah, space trees.
Yeah.
And Stuart,
that's cool. I think that's cool.
I think that's very cool. And Stuart was like, hell yeah, this is a great idea. And so, they all get that little canvas bag where they can, whatever you can fit into the bag that's under a certain weight, you get to bring with you. So he brought like this very well organized canister of seeds to the moon with him. And when he came back, this is really funny. When it went through the sort of disinfecting and reopening process and everything, because of like the vacuum and the no vacuum and all that stuff, when they opened the can to check it, the seeds went flying everywhere. And somebody sat, because all the seeds were like organized by type, because they wanted to send the right type to the right forests. Somebody who was like an arborist or something, like sat and organized all of the seeds again.
Wow.
200, something like 200 seeds had to sit and like organize and be like, oh yeah, that's definitely this kind of seed. That's definitely this kind of seed.
This feels like the premise of a very elaborate heist where, my buddy has to reorganize the seeds and then he's secretly swapping in regular old earth seeds for the very valuable moon seeds so that you can sell them on the black moon market.
Well,
They call that the dark side of the moon.
That's what it's called. The dark side of the moon. So
market.
The dark side. So basically, he comes back. He had to it was Stan Krugman, a geneticist at the Forest Service, who had to sort them by hand. Then he passed them on to a scientist who used some at the Johnson Space Center in Houston to kind of germinate them and just, hey, did space do anything to these seeds?
Do these seeds have some sort of alien life form in them now?
Malevolent intent?
Yeah. Is it a tree, but also it wants to kill me?
Do they grow into clones of the astronauts that were on the command module?
Ooh, yeah.
These are the questions that science has to ask, because in the 70s, we were much dumber than we are now. And so they did some germination studies, and then they passed on all of these seeds to forestry science facilities, who then passed them on to communities and community parks or community, wherever, for people who just wanted a little piece of the Apollo missions in their town, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very cool. Here's the thing. We didn't keep track of the moon seeds.
Really?
We didn't
seems weird. Especially, I feel like that one guy that had to pick them all up one by one and reorganize them. I feel like that guy would have been on it. He's kind of, pot committed at this point. He's invested in the outcome here.
Is he, or is he just you'll never believe what they had in me, a fucking geneticist, do at my job today? He probably came home and he was like, man, I'm a fucking geneticist. I have a PhD.
Yeah.
Do you know what they made me do at work today? They made me organize tree seeds like some fucking third grader on a field trip.
Well, at least you got your nice cushy desk and your nice cushy chair and everything in your...
I don't want to be a desk job. I want to be a field geneticist. I want to be out there mixing it up. I want to be stopping genetic crimes. What if one of these moon seeds grows into a clone of an astronaut that kills people?
Well, we should probably test that out. It's only the 70s and we don't know much now.
I don't know much about anything. Shit, you know what? We would have been able to do that, but I didn't keep track of where we sent the seeds because I was so mad.
This is why we have to work on your anger, honey.
I know. You know what? Starting today, I'm going to be a new man. And then he turns around and picks up a glass of water and sticks his finger in it to drink it. Whoa.
Wow, he was an alien the whole time?
He was an alien the whole time.
I did not see that twist coming.
It's an arrival situation. So they sent these out and they didn't really keep track of them. The ones that they grew in the lab, they kind of kept track of for a little while, and they were like, yeah, this is a regular ass tree. We got a lot of other science shit to keep track of here, and then they didn't really do much with them.
But I feel like that's cool. There's a cachet that the space tree gets. I would love to have a nice pine desk made out of a space tree. Wouldn't
You
that be cool?
immediately think about killing the space tree and turning it into a fucking desk.
This tree in the 70s.
This space tree is part of our American heritage. This tree growing in this park will What? What? Gonna turn it into a table.
Turn that shit down, bro.
Then I have a space tree. What? No, the space tree is for everyone. No, it was for everyone, and now it's for a fucking table. Fuck.
You know what's cooler than a space tree? A space fucking desk.
What up? I love that was your first thought. Why don't we kill it? Trees live for hundreds of years, Jeff. That could be a monument to American ingenuity for hundreds of years. And you're like, yeah, but I could have a desk.
And I could be like it was 200 different seeds, dude. One desk. I'm asking for one desk.
There are only 200 moon trees in existence.
Now there's 199, but one moon desk.
Now, to be fair, I'm razzing you, but it's not like we kept track of where these trees are.
I know, right? No one cares.
No one cared. I mean, it was really weird. I mean, obviously the towns that got them, the parks that got them thought they were neat. Put little plaques on, like little plaques by them or little signs, but there was no central database of where these trees were. It's freaking weird.
Maybe because there were there were fewer databases in the 70s. There was just less databasing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, a database was just like one of those like big like bookkeeper books.
Yeah, it was just one dude's journal.
Yeah.
You know?
It was like, Dear Diary, here's where the moon trees are. And it's like, hey, did you finish that database? Yeah. And I wrote some things about how you've been treating me. All right.
Yeah, and you can't read it because there's a tiny little key lock on the front of my book.
Shit. Only the president has the key to that book.
Around his neck.
Only you and the president. It takes 2 tiny keys to open your diary. And I thought when I heard this, I thought, man, that's kind of a bummer. I wonder if there's a moon tree near me. How would I know?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to know if there was like a moon tree by you?
Absolutely.
Well, Dave Williams, who's a planetary scientist over at the Goddard Space Flight Center, thought the same thing. And about 20 years ago, he was like, fuck, where are these moon trees at? Like, he heard about them while he was at work. He didn't know about them when he was a kid. Like, nobody knew about these.
I do think that this could be a really cool story. I mean, you could have kids taking field trips to the moon tree, right? I mean, it feels like a very inspirational, like this tree, the seed went to the moon and now it's here on Earth and it's growing. I think there's a wonderful narrative around that.
Yeah, I mean, metaphors are lost on kids. They're idiots, but sure.
Yeah.
Look, this tree went to space. I'm already out. I cannot conceptualize space. I'm 5 years old.
Yeah.
What? So we went to space. Okay, but I don't even know what that means. Do they have ice cream here? Now a 7-year-old, maybe. No, I don't know. Yeah. So Dave Williams was like, I got to find the moon trees. How do I find the moon trees?
Yeah, it seems impossible to find the moon trees.
Can you think,
unless they're in the form of the astronauts who died in space.
And that's the first place he checked.
Yeah.
He did put those astronauts into vacuums without any protection. And he was like, if you explode, you're a human. If you don't, you're a tree. I would like to say that he comes from a long line of inquisitors and witch hunters.
Sure.
So this comes very naturally to him. No, he was like, man, I'm not a tree expert or anything, but where are these trees? I need to be the person who keeps track of these trees. NASA didn't keep records on them. The Forestry Service didn't keep records on them. The laboratory didn't keep records on them. They just sent them out with like a letter that's like, congratulations, your town gets 1 moon tree.
Please remember that you have one because we're not writing it down.
Yeah, please send back like some sort of I have received moon tree. And nobody did. Nobody did because we had phones.
Yeah.
So they just called up. They're like, got that moon tree you sent. It's like, shit, could you just write me a note? Could you put it in your database?
Mark it down in your database and then send me one of the keys.
Send me your dream journal and write down that you put a moon tree in your town. And it's going to sound like a regular dream. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
It's going to sound like, I went to the Upside Down Library and then we planted a moon tree in our town. And it's going to be like, fuck. Is there an Upside Down Library there?
Which one is real and which one's the dream?
So
it was really awkward because there was a fucking Upside Down Library in that town. That's the craziest part.
That's the craziest part is like, this is a guy who did not have very many dreams.
Library,
He didn't have a lot of dreams. And so he was just writing down stuff that happened during the day. And he was like, one day this is going to be full of dreams.
Man. Imagine the town where the second most interesting thing is the space tree.
Right. I mean, can I be honest with you? Depending on the towns they're sent to, I think for a lot of towns, maybe the second most interesting thing is the space tree. Let's take a moment to stop down here before I discuss Dave Williams here. And let's rank this. How cool is a space tree? Knowing that they just grow to become regular Earth trees with no discernible difference, except for one case that I will talk about later. Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh.
Regular tree.
I don't think it's as cool as a space desk, as I've said.
Sure.
Dude, all joking aside, I genuinely think this is cool. I mean, yes, it's not like you're going to walk to this tree and it's going to be next to another tree and you're going to see some discernible difference. Of course not.
Okay,
I'm not expecting that. But I do think symbolically, just like a space rock, right? Like the fact that this was in space, I think, I mean, it looks like any other rock, but you holding it, feeling it. I've been to science centers and it's like, oh, this is a rock from space. Now, granted, that was created in space or, existed. Most of it was retrieved from space rather than just visited space.
Yeah. But it's allowed to say it's from space, whereas like the moon trees have to say that they lived in space.
Yes.
You can't like that tree is not really from New York.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But I still think there's something that triggers a contextual, reexamination of where you fit in the universe.
Okay.
Whenever you go, look, that tree was in space and now it's here. And I think it inspires that kind of thinking. And I think that's cool and important.
All right. I'm going to be very serious here. This is, I mean, it is a bit, but it's not, I'm being serious. I'm going to name some things and you're going to tell me whether you think if these things were in your town, the space tree would be cooler than them or not. Okay. What's cooler? Okay.
Okay.
Your town has like a really big Ferris wheel.
Man, that's tough. I can ride this Ferris wheel.
That's what I'm saying. But like, be honest. This is a bit, but it's also serious.
How big is the Ferris wheel?
Pretty big. I'm not going to say it's like the London Eye, but it's like a decent sized Ferris wheel.
It's like a Ferris wheel that you could like put on a truck and move from place to place?
No, like a Coney Island Ferris wheel. Like it
exists there. It's permanent.
It was built to be there.
I mean, I'd take my family to the Ferris wheel first before the space tree.
Right. What do you think is cooler?
I think it's cooler to have a space tree. Genuinely think it's cooler. A Ferris wheel is a dime a dozen.
It makes you feel cool. Like, even if you don't go see the space tree as much as the Ferris wheel, knowing that the space tree is there is cooler. Okay.
Yes.
Your art museum has like an original Caravaggio in your town. Like one of those big ass fucking Caravaggios.
I still think space tree's cooler.
Space tree's cooler.
I do.
Okay. A really big water slide.
I mean, it's going to go water slide now.
It's the water slide, right? Like it's a water slide. Or like a statue in the center of town, like dedicated to like some weird, like not even somebody who's famous elsewhere in the world, but like one of those statues that's in your town that's like the Emperor Norman statue in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay. You've got the Emperor Norman statue in San Francisco, and let's say San Francisco also has a moon tree. Is the Emperor Norman statue cooler than the space tree? I think the Emperor Norman statue is cooler.
I don't know.
I think the space tree is cool. I want to say we think the space tree is cool no matter who wins in these situations.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the space tree is cooler than the Emperor Norman.
Wow. What about now that you moved away from a Disney park, what about having a Disney park in your, what's cooler, having a Disney park?
Well, I mean, there's two.
Okay.
Star Wars, it's cooler to have a Disney park.
Well, I mean, listen, there are two in China. There's one in Europe. Like, come on, there are Disney parks.
But,
they're rare. They're rarer than space trees.
Yeah, I think, rarer than space trees is key. And they're a big deal. I mean, usually living in a town that has a Disney park means your town sucks.
That's true.
But it is cooler, That's cool.
I think it's pretty. I do think this is pretty cool, and like if I was in the Florida Keys and they had that underwater hotel, that underwater hotel that was born that was born in the 70s. Hotels are birthed. It's a Mortal Engines situation.
Yeah.
They have that underwater hotel from the 70s, or maybe even like one of those treehouse hotels, right?
Oh yeah, those are rad.
Treehouse hotel in the moon tree.
Dude, we're making billions on this idea.
Dude, sleep in a hotel, in a treehouse, in a tree that went to the fucking moon.
That is, fuck you, Disney parks.
Hey, eat shit, Disney.
We've hit on it. We got to find these trees,
dude,
and we got to build houses in them.
We got to do this.
And we got to put that shit on Airbnb as fast as possible.
Dude, even just a hammock in one of those trees. Taking a nap in a hammock in a tree that went to the moon. That's a fucking good nap.
I would pay for that nap.
I would super pay for that nap. And these are the good business reasons why we have to find these moon trees. And so Dave Williams found out about these moon trees like in the late 90s. A third grade teacher in Indiana had been working on a project with her kids about trees near their school. And a student came in one day saying, I heard about a moon tree.
From the voices coming from the moon tree.
At night, and it said, come to the moon tree, no harm will befall you. Come, children, to the spire at midnight.
And bring some blood.
And your mom's credit card. So she heard about a moon tree that at a nearby Girl Scout camp. So the class went on a field trip and found this entirely normal looking sycamore with a little sign that said, this is a fucking moon tree. Show some respect.
You didn't say that they put signs on them. I'm glad that they at least went.
I said they put little signs and plaques nearby them.
Oh, I didn't catch that part.
Yeah.
I think that's good. So now it feels like a solvable mystery.
Well, yeah, it's semi-solvable, right? Because if a town did put a sign, then we know where it was, right?
Can I tell you something, Anthony?
Yeah.
Can I tell you something, Anthony?
Yeah.
Let's find a website that makes tiny signs.
Do you know how easy? Listen, the week that I found out you can just order trophies and how inexpensive they were, I literally ordered so many trophies and gave them out when I found out how cheap, when I found out that there was like a quantity discount on trophies. I was like, no shit. And I just ordered
the soccer team discount.
I ordered like a crate of trophies and gave them out to like people at work and shit. So like,
this is what we do. We order a bunch of plaques.
We say this was a moon tree.
Stick them on some trees, and then we build tree houses in them.
This tree went to the moon.
Idea, dude.
With the crew of the Apollo 14 in 1971. Scan this QR code.
Yes.
To hire a night on Airbnb.
Unbelievable. This is a brilliant plan.
Oh, overpriced weddings under the moon tree? Are you kidding?
Oh, under the moon tree. Come on.
That's what we got to do. We write a novelty song the way they used to do like in the 50s and 60s where you write a song that's kind of about a product or a politician.
Yes. Here's how it goes. You say, I love you to the moon and back, just like this tree.
And that's the entire lyrics of the song. We just chant it over and over with no instrumentation behind it.
I love you to the moon and back, just like this tree. It went to the moon and back, as you can see. Just look at the plaque.
Yes.
It has to be.
And then can we put something in the lyrics about how the plaque has to have our official seal on it, otherwise it's a fake moon tree. Because then what we're doing is we're making our moon trees the actual moon trees.
Yeah.
And then suck it real moon trees.
Substitutes.
So they see these kids see this tree at this Girl Scout camp, and they write to NASA Goddard, because I guess they email NASA Goddard, because you remember Goddard had like one of the first internet presences. NASA Goddard would post like the image of the day and all that stuff. So they wrote to NASA, this class, and they were like, yo, tell me about these moon trees. Dave Williams at Goddard gets this email and goes, the fuck is a moon tree? I don't even know. So no one in the office in Maryland knew. Not even folks who had worked at NASA during the Apollo program had ever heard of a moon tree. So he calls up the history office. He's like, what the fuck is a moon tree? The history office manages to find, remember, back in 1996, databases were still mostly dream journals. So they flip through this Mean Girl scrapbook, her slam book.
Yeah.
They flip through the slam book and they found a couple clippings about some of these moon trees from like small town newspapers that were like, we got a moon tree, motherfuckers. This is what turns it all around for us. You know?
Amazing.
These towns have all now mysteriously disappeared.
Well, that makes sense.
So he's like, shit, all right, let's figure this out. He emailed Goebold back and he's like, yeah, there are moon trees. Here's what they're about. But I don't know what's going on. What is happening? We find out that there were actually like 500 of these seeds.
It's amazing. And they're all still plaqued?
So Dave Williams goes, hey, I'm putting out messages online. I'm putting them out in print. I'm putting out wherever I can. If you pass a fucking moon tree, let us know. We've lost all of our moon trees.
Yeah.
And he said that like sometimes he'll go for years without hearing anything from anyone. His first one, it took 2 years for people to write back. For 2 years, he was like, help us find the moon trees, help us find the moon trees. And then finally, there was like a couple that was like hiking and was like, oh, yeah, there's this plaque on this tree near our town. And he's like, boom, fucking moon tree. Found it. That's number one. Wrote it down in his dream journal and started immediately keeping track of where the moon trees are and is now like the keeper of the moon trees for NASA.
How many have we found? How many have we got?
So we've located 100 of the moon trees. There were 500 seeds. We know that some of them stayed and were experimented on. We don't know how many of them were actually planted. We don't know any of that stuff. There are 100 of these moon trees. Not all of them are still living. Sometimes the plaques are there, but the tree is gone. And it's now just a moon tree site. This shit happens.
There's some dude selling a desk somewhere.
Yeah, selling just a beautiful desk that whispers ideas to you. So there are 100 of these moon trees. And with some of them, like, you know, some of these plaques have like the official planting date, right? Because it's a big deal. Here is the site of the moon tree, which we have planted on this day. Most of them were planted in 1976. And I looked to see how many moon trees are close, like, to me and you. Like, are we close enough to moon trees? There are no moon trees in Colorado that we know of.
Ah, bummer.
But here's the thing about Colorado. There are so many trees and so many trails and so many parks. Like, there might be a moon tree out there, and it's just nobody knows.
Searching for moon trees. I gotta look.
You could find a moon tree, dude.
I could be the guy that finds a moon tree.
And then that's something.
That's something. Were they sent to all 50 states? Do we know that?
We don't know.
At all?
We have no idea. We have no idea. The closest, unfortunately, I don't live close to a moon tree anymore. They're all mostly, there's one in San Luis Obispo, which is not super close to me at all, but it's the closest one. Turns out I was living very close to one in San Francisco. You and I were both living close to moon trees. You were living close to moon trees growing up. They had moon trees in Berkeley, Monterey, Arcata, and Sacramento.
Wow. Oh, crazy.
We were at the epicenter of some fucking moon trees for a while.
Yeah, that's a moon tree central right there.
Right? Pretty amazing. And listen, if you were to plant a moon tree in like Muir Woods or something, no one would know. How would you find it?
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
The ones in Berkeley are in Tilden Nature Area, which is very, very popular, very famous. And it's 2 redwoods, like giant redwoods that they planted. So those trees are going to be around for hundreds of years.
But the plaque is really high up now.
Well, they don't put it on the tree, Jeff.
Oh.
You put it next to the tree. You don't nail something into a tree. It can hurt the tree, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured.
Jeffrey.
We
have to care for our moon trees. There are only 100.
Trees grow.
There are only 70 living ones that we know of.
Okay.
There are a few in Florida near where I was growing up, obviously because of all the NASA around Florida. Yeah. There's one in Moscow, Idaho, at the University of Idaho. Like, there's a whole list of these things because now, here's the great thing. Databases are no longer just in dream journals, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a little more useful, searchable now.
Now, when he finds a moon tree, it goes on the moon tree Wikipedia page.
But the downside is that NASA has a lot less info about how Tiffany stole Steven from Jennifer.
Yeah, that's a problem. And honestly, the dream about the upside down library was pretty interesting, and I wish we had read the ending.
Yeah.
So we're losing out on a lot, but I feel like we've gained a little bit more by knowing.
I love this story.
Me too.
This is cool. Why don't we just do this again? Why don't we just send some seeds up next time and do it again? I mean, I don't know when we're going to the moon next, but I think let's do it again. This is a cool idea.
I would love that. I mean, astronauts they still get to bring their little trinkets and tchotchkes and whatever's up to space with them.
I like my minifig idea. Spaceman in space. Come on.
Yeah, bring a little minifig up. Somebody has to have done that. Somebody has to have done that. I love this. I love the idea of, because here's the thing. If you really want to get into it, how many people are going to be astronauts go into space? Very, 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 very few. How many people are going to meet astronauts or be around the space program? Very, very, very few, right? The idea of having something in your town that, like you were saying, that's gone to space and come back and it's survived and now it's growing and thriving. I think that's really wonderful.
Yeah, I do too. I think it, like I said, it engenders those self-reflective thoughts of where we live, our places in the universe and how insignificant we are and scale and all those things. When you go, man, this was up there, you know,
and we brought it back we brought it back safely and it's part of our world. And I do want to say the one example before we move on, I nearly forgot, of weird things happening with these trees once they grew. 2 trees out of these seeds grew into an entirely different species than they were supposed to be.
They grew into rabbits?
Well, different species of tree than they were supposed to be.
Oh, less exciting.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they grew into astronauts. They grew into exact copies of astronauts. They grew into 2 completely different species of tree than they were supposed to be. And everybody started freaking out about it. And then it turned out fucking Krugman just missorted a couple seeds.
Well, not his fault, dude. Like, they spilled all over the ground. He's picking them up one by one.
Hey, fucking Krugman. If you're such a good tree geneticist, why can't you recognize the seeds, my guy?
They got spilled, man. Come on.
They got spilled. And Krugman had one job. He didn't have to go into space and return safely with them or anything. He just had to sort them into piles.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know what seed this is.
No, I would never know. I would never know. How would I know? If I was to look up a Douglas fir seed and a redwood seed right now, would I be able to tell the difference? I mean, no, they just look like a seed. Well, the Douglas fir seed, I think, are just pine cones.
No, don't you pull the seed out of the pine cone?
Yeah, the seeds come out of the pine cones.
Pine cone's a delivery device, right? Yeah.
But all the pictures are just the cone. Nobody has a picture of just the seed. Ridiculous. It's not a pine cone because it doesn't come from a pine, but you know what I'm saying. It's a cone.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, maybe I see how Krugman could screw this up. Maybe I see how Krugman got these wrong. I love this too.
Yeah.
There was such a just a dumb sense of wonder and about scientific pursuits at that time. They were just so weird, and we were doing them despite the fact that they it was that thing. It was that thing in the 60s and 70s where it's just like, let's just go to the fucking moon. Why? Because we should.
I imagine every scientist at NASA in that period just being Carl Sagan, just like wearing a turtleneck and having big dreams and being idealistic about everything and just trying shit, Yeah,
just try some shit, dude. I don't know. Maybe we get to the moon. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Shut up about it, Dave. We're going to the moon.
Never know what's out there. It could be anything.
Now it's all like, well, this is the 14th mission of this year, and it's specifically just to make a billionaire happy, and it's boring.
Well,
and
I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but it all changed in the 80s with the Challenger explosion.
Mhm.
You know, that's like the moment where it became, oh, this isn't all upside and possibility. It's
right. Like we
killing
always knew
teachers and
this
death
could
and
happen,
sadness. Yeah,
but we didn't think it would.
right.
Right.
And it was the one moment that all of America was like, anything is possible. A teacher can go to space. And it's like, no, space wants to kill you.
Yeah,
and
woof.
now we have to take it seriously.
I mean,
Yeah.
and to be fair, like that, there had always been a specter of that. Like even, the Apollo 13 and so,
Sure.
there had always
Yeah.
been like a bit of a specter of it. But yeah, I think the Challenger was really when it was like, hey, maybe we should pull back on space. There's a lot of stuff going on Earth, which is a
Yeah,
fair
it's
thing to say because it's true.
Right.
Anyway, I like that there are space trees, and I want to know about
too.
more weird things like this. This fits neatly into two of my compartments, which is space and space exploration
And seeds.
and seeds,
Your
which I fucking
incessant love of
Oh my
seeds.
God, I love a seed. You know what I love is I love to have them stuck in my teeth. If I leave the house
Sure.
and I don't have at least 3 caraway seeds stuck in my teeth, I feel like I'm just having a bad day. No, the other one is just like roadside attraction stuff that's just weird.
Oh,
in there.
yeah.
I love the idea of like, oh, if we're here, we got to see the moon tree. And like everybody with me will be like, we're not going 45 minutes out of our way both ways to see the moon tree. I'm like, it's an hour and a half. When are we going to see a moon tree?
No, that is your jam. I know that every trip you've ever described to me that you've planned has had all of those. Got to see it. I got to be in the same place as the moon tree.
Oh my God.
Because I have an opportunity. I'm within 500 miles of the moon tree. I got to do it.
Dude, I got it. If I'm within three hours, of a moon tree, like here's the thing. There's a moon tree in the East Bay. I could get to the East Bay real easy.
Oh, I'm telling you, next time I'm in Berkeley, I'm going to try to find it.
Find the moon tree, dude. It's in Tilden.
Yeah.
You can just go to Tilden and ask.
It's awesome.
That's all. Anyway, if you know more things like this, please tell us about them on the Discord or email them to us at wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com. Hey, Jeff, if they wanted to get on that Discord, I don't know. How would they do that? That seems crazy to get on a Discord.
Well, there's one simple, easy way to do it, and that is a single US dollar one time each month on our Patreon, patreon.com/wehaveconcern. Get you access to that Discord. We gate it behind the Patreon because we only want to have the coolest folks.
And only the coolest
Discord.
folks have money and give it to us.
Yes. Not a lot. It doesn't even need to be a lot. A single dollar. If you've got more and you really like the show and you want to see it continue, well, you can give us more, and there's cooler stuff that you can get on the Patreon. All you got to do is check it out. You can see the bonus content, the extra bits of show we do at the beginning that you only hear the end of. You can get that. You can get, you don't have to tell you. Go to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Find out how you can support the show.
I don't have to tell you what you're getting for your money. Just give me your money.
Just come on.
Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Give me your money, nerd.
All right. We went long on that story, so we don't have to talk about this one a lot, but I think it's fascinating.
We love a moon tree, I guess.
We do love a moon tree. I mean, we could do 2 hours on moon trees. But we also, we've been talking a lot lately, it seems. I feel like there's been a lot of stories lately about memory.
Mm.
I feel like you've been bringing up a lot of stories about memory.
Have I? I don't recall.
So I'm going.
Hey.
I'm going to do one. This, as much as you say I'm in cahoots with cahoots,
You are in cahoots with cahoots.
I think I'm more in synergy with synergy. You know what I'm saying? Because
Z Synergy Mansfield, just one of the story submission all-stars.
truly a hero, if I may say. Not all heroes wear capes, but some submit stories to the Discord. Z Synergy Mansfield pointed me to the story about the fact that for the first time, researchers have watched a memory form in the brain of a living thing.
And it looks like a little Amy Poehler.
It really does. It's wild to think that Pixar was accurate, but it's true. They also, by the way, have found living cars.
How do they fuck?
You know, it's weird. I didn't pick that story. I went with the memory one, but we probably should have talked about the car fucking story. I bet people would have been interested in that. You know, the weirdest thing about living cars is their eyes aren't the headlights.
No.
It's the windshield. You wouldn't have thought that.
You wouldn't have thought that. You wouldn't have thought that.
This is true. We actually watched a memory form. Scientists at the University of Southern California, USC, go Trojans. My wife would be mad. She's UCLA, but that's okay. We watched a memory.
Nobody should care about that after the age of 25.
Yeah. She could not care less. Yeah. I don't even know why I said it.
Don't denigrate your wife like that. She doesn't give a shit.
She does not. So here's what we know about memories being formed. Not a lot. Oftentimes, when we think about a memory being formed, the assumption has been that the synapses between neurons get stronger. That's how you form a memory. These connections in your brain get stronger. And we've studied a memory in the cortex, which is, the top of a brain in a mammal, and in the hippocampus at the base of the brain. But because the amygdala is deeper into the brain, it's not been possible for us to really examine that portion of the brain as memories are being formed.
Too much other brain. Too much other brain in the way.
Too much other brain in the way. Exactly. Yeah. But the amygdala is where the deepest, most powerful memories, the associative memories, are formed. These are emotionally charged memories. If you think of trauma and fear-based memories, these are these form in the amygdala. So it's an important thing to understand, especially if you want to help folks that have these traumatic memories and you want to find treatments for that kind of stuff. But we haven't been able to observe it. We haven't been able to study it until now. And the methodology with which these USC researchers did this is pretty wild. They couldn't or have not yet figured out a way to look at it in mammals, but they did watch a memory form in a fish, specifically a zebrafish.
We love a zebrafish.
Oh, we do.
Science's favorite fish, dude. They're the mouse of the sea.
They really are the mouse of the sea. They are the mouse of the sea. And we fucked up these fish so good, Anthony.
Dude,
you're going to love this.
All we do is fuck up a zebrafish, dog.
You're going to love this. Okay. So the fish don't have an amygdala, right? That's a mammal trait.
Go mammals.
Fish. What?
Go mammals.
Go mammals.
Go Trojans.
Go mammals. But there is this analogous region in a fish brain called pallium, and that's where their associative memories form. And for the zebrafish, in a mammal, basically the idea of your brain getting older is that it grows, right? Mm-hmm. You start with a small brain and it gets bigger and bigger, inflating basically like a balloon.
And smoother and smoother, right?
Yeah, that's what you want. The smoothest of brains.
I don't need to see a doctor, right? It just gets smoother and smoother, and that's fine. It
just gets smoother. Yeah, just keep hitting it against the wall. Okay, if it's not smooth enough, then it'll get that way.
Great.
But the zebrafish's brain does not just inflate like that as it gets older. It doesn't get bigger. It turns itself inside out.
Fuck off.
The scientists describe it like a popcorn kernel. So, popcorn, when it pops, like the insides come out.
It's a beautiful bloomin' fish brain.
Yes. Available now at Chevy's, the bloomin' fish brain. Eat them like popcorn shrimp. It's delicious. But that's good news for us because the deepest parts come to the surface where we can image them. And even better for us, zebrafish larvae, the very young zebrafish, start with transparent brains. Well, they are transparent, right? So you can see to their brains much easier.
Yo. So we can just look right in on those fish.
Yes. But we didn't stop there, of course, because we're not going to just observe them. What they did is they genetically engineered some zebrafish to produce neurons with a fluorescent protein marker.
God damn it.
So
give me that protein marker in my skin, idiots. Let me glow.
Yeah. No, you'll be beautiful. So this marker protein was bound to their synapses. And if you point a little laser light on this custom microscope at these markers, they glow, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool ass, like rave, black light in your brain, party time, zebrafish. Okay.
Love a dance party zebrafish.
So the goal here is to watch these synapses thicken, get stronger, get more intense as you create a memory. Now, they wanted to be able to use as little light as possible to, quote, avoid scorching the creatures with light.
Sure. You want to avoid scorching the creatures with light.
Yeah.
If you can. So that's fun. If you can't, it's like whatever. But like if you can.
I mean, you're going to lose. Dude, it gets way darker from here. Buckle up.
How can it? They're shining a light right on it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good. So you would be able to see with this fluorescent marker, you'd be able to see not only the individual synapses that that are happening, but also their strength. The brighter the light, the stronger the connection. Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the problem. In order for us to watch a memory being formed, we have to form a memory.
Oh, no.
Any guesses on what kind of memory we're going to form,
I mean,
Anthony?
the quickest, easiest, most lasting way probably, and the best way for this study is a horrifying memory, a traumatic memory.
Scare the shit out of some zebrafish.
Yeah.
Yes. Traumatize the zebrafish in the most extreme way possible.
You can't just give the zebrafish a nice day that it will remember fondly for the rest of its life.
No, you don't want to give it like a meet cute that turns into a long-lasting, beautiful memory that it wants to cherish for the rest of its little zebrafish days. No. You're gonna fuck this thing up as hard as possible to get the most indelible memory that you can possibly forge. So they talk about this like Pavlov's dogs. They conditioned the zebrafish larva to associate a specific light with being, quote, uncomfortably heated.
Oh, no. They boil a fishy.
They burn fish to the point that they're terrified. They turn a light on, and when they turn that light on, they induce intense pain. And to the point where they scare the shit out of the fish anytime they see that light. So they're creating this memory.
Couldn't they associate that light with feeding or something too? Wouldn't that do the same thing? I don't understand. I guess because it's the amygdala and it's fight or flight, right?
I think that's the idea. Yeah. They're trying to study traumatic memories, right? So they need to make a traumatic memory. But it's funny because the article compares it to Pavlov, and it's like, well, he conditioned his dogs to salivate at the expectation of a treat. It's like, yeah, not really what they were doing here. It's a little different.
I too salivate at the expectation of a treat, and I find it to be a pleasant experience. It's not the same as being boiled alive every time a light comes on.
Yeah. So here's the quote. In the experiment, the larvae's head were immobilized, but their tails were free to swish around as an indicator of the learned behavior. So basically, they held them in place, they scared the shit out of them, and they couldn't escape.
Cool. Did we learn what we needed to learn, or did we just fuck up a bunch of fish?
So here's what we expected to happen.
Oh boy.
They imaged the pallium before and after the fish learned, or learned as a euphemism for scared the shit out of them. And they expected to see changes in the synapse strength and location. they did not see that. The synapse strengths in the pallium remained about the same, regardless of whether the fish learned anything.
Okay.
So how we thought memories were formed is not at all how they were formed. They basically
totally wrong.
The synapse strength didn't change at all.
Huh.
What did happen is that the pallium basically completely restructured itself. They said it pruned itself like a bonsai tree, cutting pieces from one area and placing them in another.
What?
Yeah.
Is my brain doing that? No.
Yeah.
Our amygdala is different than this.
Well, that's the ongoing question. We'll get to that. But basically, scientists have theorized before that memories can be formed through the addition and deletion of synapses, this rearranging of the structure of the synapses. But no one has ever actually watched it before, and no one's ever seen it on this scale. It's so much more significant, and it is the only way that these memories were formed. It wasn't a combination of strength. It was just, oh, fuck, I need these synapses over here because now this is important.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a few different theories as to why that might be possible. One of which is like, this was such a intense, traumatic, disturbing memory, and it valued such importance in the survival of the fish that it may just have been a very specific kind of way that memory is formed. It's so intense that it resulted in an intense restructuring of the brain. And so they kind of equate it to the difference between RAM in your computer and a solid state drive.
Sure.
Right? Some memories are RAM, like you meet a new person and they say, hey, my name is Terry. And you're like, Terry Sue.
That's for no one.
But then you forget it. You forget it just moments later because it's in the RAM, right? It's not a super important memory that, it's not a restructuring of the brain. It's this just a little stronger synapse over here that kind of gets less strong very quickly. But if Terry Lou Retton, burns your house down and completely traumatizes you, then perhaps this is how the brain compartmentalizes that and deals with that.
I can think of another mnemonic device to remember Terry Lou Retton's name. They don't have to burn down my house.
That's the only option that you've got is a casual reference in the context of a social gathering or, complete arson of your house.
Huh. How about that?
The other theory that they have is that this may have to do with the age of the zebrafish because we're only looking at larvae. So we know that as these things get older, your brain doesn't restructure itself as much in general. Things get more set. And so it may be that these memories are being formed because the brain itself is being formed,
Yeah.
And so if we studied older zebrafish, we might not see that happen quite as dramatically, but it's harder. It's more difficult to study the older zebrafish because they're not translucent. So.
Wow. That's kind of fascinating. So now that we have these theories, there's really no way we would need like an entire sea change in technology to be able to know what's going on in our amygdala. So this is the best information we have to go off of. What are the next steps? Like,
well, they say this is a groundbreaking study. They call the paper a tour de force, a technical tour de force.
It seems like it. It seems like this is the beginning of a next phase of studying memory.
Yeah, obviously they want to try to do it in mammals, but it would take, some breakthroughs, I think, or some,
because we don't have any translucent inside out mammals. Now, can we make some?
Let's work on that. But that's the goal is that this is the kind of result and information that leads people to fund more of these studies because they're like, oh, there's a there there. You know,
Right.
there's more to learn, and it's surprising and revolutionary. So let's figure out ways to find it out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's legitimately amazing. I am so excited and fascinated and just I'm waiting every day. I'm waiting every day for what new thing about the brain we're going to unlock. You know what I mean? Because it's really we're really now in that era of human study.
You are 100% correct. It is the progress we've made in understanding the brain in the last 10 to 15 years is more than the last 200. You know, it's really cool. And I think that it's just accelerating.
I do forget a lot, and I would like them to fix that. So This is great for me.
I agree. Yeah, let's figure it out. And even more, this has definite applications for folks that have not just a hard time remembering, but a hard time forgetting. And these things that really are debilitating memories that are hardwired and locked in this more permanent manner. And maybe there are ways to treat that and help folks work through traumatic memory.
And let me tell you, that's not just, on these extreme cases. So much of our personalities, our reactions to things, our responses in emotional situations have to do with these sort of early traumatic memories, but just traumatic memories. And it doesn't matter if your memories are as traumatic or whatever as somebody else's. This has a lot to do with what we hold on to and who we are. And so figuring out how that forms and how to access them, like we were talking about like a couple weeks ago, I mean, that's all super important.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm ready.
And it's awesome. And we're making progress. And that's what's so exciting.
I'm ready to learn about the brain. I'm ready to talk more about the brain. Hey, come to the Discord and talk about brains with us. We'll do it. We're not scared.
Talk about brains and how smooth yours is, whatever.
Yeah. You don't have to talk about brains. We got all kinds of other stuff you can talk about. We also have, like Jeff said, bonus videos and bonus episodes with every guest we've ever had on the show. So many wonderful things. Check them out at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.